Michigan State, MIT. Now, if you know the line of that song, I will be impressed. All right, let's get on to the Spartans football preview 2025 right here at the Voice of College Football. Please like the video and subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. All right, Michigan State with quite the checkered football history. It's interesting to see the ups and downs of Michigan State football and, of course, playing second fiddle in the state. Most recently, of course, the success of one Mark D'Antonio, which seems like eons ago, and the flash-in-the-pan one-hit wonder that was Mel Tucker in 2021. Jonathan Smith seems to have this program on firm ground following his transfer, of course, in addition from Oregon State, Michigan State for a second consecutive time, pouring money into a head coach with hopes of bigger and better things, and I think they got it right this time with Jonathan Smith. But it won't be easy. 5 wins last year, 3 in the Big Ten. He brought his quarterback with him, Aiden Childs, of course, after the two worked together at Oregon State. Childs was the backup there, but was the heir apparent in Corvallis. Jonathan Smith, of course, did wonders at Oregon State. It was arguably the worst program in college football in the power conferences and lifted it to a final 2-year run of 18-7. And again, he's going to work at Michigan State with an uphill climb there. Childs showed development last year. He's a dual threat guy for sure. Shows flashes, but also many mistakes. A little bit loose with the football, both through the air, and he lets it loose on the ground from time to time. But he developed, no doubt. Now, he didn't have a meteoric rise of progression last year, but definitely a better quarterback the second half versus the first half as he cut down on the INTs, increased the TD to pick ratio and the completion percentage, 55% the first half, 61% the second half for Childs. So he needs to continue to take off, and he's going to be looking for his number one target, Nick Marsh. Their chemistry should continue to flourish. I love Nick Marsh. I think he's an excellent wide receiver, wins one-on-one matchups downfield in 50-50 type situations, 41 catches, 649 yards. He needs to get into the end zone more for Michigan State to be a healthy offense, which they were not in 2024. 123rd in points per game, number 110 rushing the football. We'll get to that in just a second as we clean up the wide receiver group with Omari Kelly coming in from Middle Tennessee State. 53 catches, 869 through the air, and tight end Jack Velling. Another transfer from Oregon State with Jonathan Smith. 36 catches last season with the Spartans, 81 in his career. He's one of the best tight ends in the Big Ten. The offensive line is evidenced by the running game. Not good on the ground. Awful, atrocious. Through the air, they protected Childs fairly well, but 110th in rushing. They do bring in a center from Wake Forest and Matt Golban. He has played 40 games, started 22, honorable mention, all ACC, so Golban should be an upgrade at center. Also along the offensive line, they started a freshman at left tackle last year in Stanton Ramil, so he should be much improved, as the running game could not get much worse. I don't know how much was the offensive line and how much just a lack of depth, and most of all, a lack of talent at running back, and Michigan State did little, if anything, about it. This might be the worst running back room in the country, let alone the Big Ten, with Brandon Tullis listed right now in the depth chart as the starter, a sophomore who's done 0 in his collegiate career. Their big transfer was in from Sacramento State. Elijah Tolliver might be a good back, but his 950 yards and 5.2 yards per carry against FCS competition, Michigan State, awful on offense, and that's a shame because the defense generally did its job last season. Not spectacular, and definitely need to develop a pass rush. That was non-existent for the most part last year. They went 6 consecutive games without a sack. However, number 32 against the run, number 34 in total defense last season under fine defensive coordinator Joe Rossi, who did wonders at Minnesota, and now he's at Michigan State. Back along the defensive line front, you've got Alex Van Sumeren and also Jalen Thompson. They were depth pieces, role players last year. They've got to step up and be productive first-teamers this year and produce plays along the line of scrimmage. The linebackers, the two best, are back in Percy Snow's nephew, You Michigan State fans remember the legend of the late 80s Percy Snow. And of course, he was drafted and played with the Kansas City Chiefs, I do recall. Darius is his nephew, 29 tackles a season ago, along with Jordan Hall, who had 24 stops. The Michigan State secondary might be the strength of the team. Chance Rucker's a good corner, although he was out most of last season. The season before, 23 stops and a pick. Joshua Eaton comes in from Texas State, where he was a 2-year starter there. His 6th year of college football, 43 games played, no interceptions for Eaton, so he's not necessarily a ball hawk, but consistent on that side of the ball with experience. So they're decent at cornerback. They're even better at safety with guys like Nakai Martinez, 52 stops, 2 interceptions last year. He's been a 3-year starter at UCF and Michigan State. And Malik Spencer, 72 tackles 2 seasons ago, wrapped up 44 ball carriers in 2024. The place kicking is a mystery after Jonathan Kim moves on to the NFL. Michigan State does boast one of the better punters in the nation and certainly the Big Ten. In second-team All-Big Ten selection, Ryan Eckley, almost 48 yards per kick. And again, second-team All-Big Ten for a second consecutive season. Now on to a schedule that will be daunting for Michigan State. But at least Jonathan Smith will not have to deal with Ohio State and Oregon right out of the gate in the Big Ten as he did last season. That did not go well, and Michigan State could not recover. This time around, Michigan State, of course, starts out with a directional school from Michigan. They've got a sordid history against those schools and a few upset scares and a few upsets against. It's Western Michigan in the opener in 2025. September 6th. Interesting date to see how much better Michigan State might be. Last season, they went to Chestnut Hill, had a chance to win late, but Aiden Childs made a poor decision in the red zone, threw an interception in the end zone with Michigan State on the doorstep of victory and lost at BC, so they get the return trip from Boston College the second week of the season. No Ohio State, no Oregon, no Illinois. They start on the road in the Big Ten against USC and Nebraska. A split there would be a big win. October and November, this stretch is a bit difficult for Michigan State to navigate, I do believe. Indiana, Michigan, Minnesota, Penn State, and Iowa. Those are consecutive games against not necessarily the elite, but an upper echelon of the Big Ten that Michigan State is going to have to navigate for 5 consecutive games. 5-7 was the final count for Michigan State last season. Jonathan Smith would love to get to a bowl game. I would like to see Sparty back in postseason play for the first time since 2021. Let's say a win against Boston College gets the job done. Still 3-6 in the Big Ten, but a sweep of non-conference play gets Michigan State to the magical number of 6 wins, 6 losses. Your comments and questions down below. Please like and subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. Join us for our daily show, The College Football Show, Monday through Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. See you then.